Welcome to A-Team Accounting. Today's topic, petty cash. Firstly, what is petty cash, you may ask? Well, petty cash is a small amount of cash kept on hand by a business to pay for minor expenditures. The size and scope varies from business to business. Some examples include postage fees, public transport fares, and office supplies, such as highlighters and pens. Now, let's set up the petty cash fund. In order to set up the petty cash fund, we must firstly establish the fund, secondly make payments from the fund, and thirdly replenish the fund. Does that sound a bit confusing? Okay, let's go through a scenario. Let's say Georgia wants to establish a $50 petty cash fund for her chicken shop, The Caribbean's minor expenditures. Well, what are we going to do? We're going to write a check of $50. Then we're going to cash the check out of $50. And then we have to record this via a journal entry. So, let's do this. We're going to debit the petty cash fund of $50 and credit cash. If you're finding this a bit confusing, I want you to remember that assets equals liabilities plus equity. And since cash is an asset account, its normal or expected balance is a debit balance, which means in order to decrease our cash account, it must be credited. And now we can use the petty cash fund to buy supplies. So here's another scenario for our friend Georgia. She now needs to purchase highlighters from Woolworths costing $10. If she chooses to use the petty cash fund rather than her personal money, this must be recorded in the journal entry as supplies expenses being debited by $10 and the petty cash being credited by $10. If you think back to our steps before, we are now up to our third step. We must replenish the petty cash fund. Number 1, we must count the remaining cash in the fund. Then we must add all the expenses. Then finally, we will cash a check with the total expense amount back to its original balance. Now, for Georgia, her only expense was the $10. This needs to be checked back into the account. By checking this back, the petty cash fund regains its original value of $50. You must keep your receipts, as cash over and short may occur, which is when there's a discrepancy between the total amount of receipts and the cash needed for the replenishment. Cash over and short is debited if the receipts do not equal the cash needed to replenish the petty cash fund. You have now learnt about this method of internal control. Now go set up your petty cash funds. Thank you for watching.